Yes, and we are back, and it is going to be this time around Celestial vs Diamond Dogs. Set 1, Lich on Ormond Lake Mine. Set 2, Nightmare on Dead Dog Saloon, and a tiebreaker of Ghoul on Suffocation Pit 1. But we have yet to see the Ghoul on Suffocation Pit 1, as we haven't gone to the tiebreaker just yet after the first series. Second series, what do we have in the back? Not too sure, honestly, but it is going to be Diamond Dogs first up here, and what better set to do it on a Lich set, I guess? I mean, these ones tend to be pretty thrilling for me, at least. You did see, I think it was Scarlet and, oh, I can't remember the other team, but the game was very, very close in the end. Oh no, it'll come back to me, but it made for a really good series to watch to the very end. Unironically, I do believe it was. No, no, no. It's just gone past me. Anyway, Ranga, going to be the man for the job for Diamond Dogs. Is going to be traversing towards the middle map after utilizing that flight mechanic here. He's going to be sending off his orb towards the shack. Does not spot anybody yet, but sees somebody making the rotation towards 11. That's going to be a nice play. Skulls there with the elevation tech. Unfortunately, not quite connecting with our Nia. Ray just going to be pre-dropping this pallet here over at 11 and hoping to hold on for dear life as we do rotate on towards the outside of it. This will probably spell a tag after the ping. Yeah, there it is. And there's not really too much of it, considering the fact that, oh, actually, no, there is. Well, not really. I mean, SEA to OC is not too bad, but however, Ranger going to be playing around the window here. Really trying to bait out a vault on the side of Ray, but Ray just a little too smart for it. Does drop the pallet, but unfortunately loses the 50-50 after lifting it back up with the hands. And all of a sudden, our killer has their first down and their first hook of the trial here, Peaches.
Yeah, this is looking pretty solid. The only downside so far, at least Ranga, looking at the Painter's RNG, most of his hooks seem to be top side, if I'm not mistaken. So that a lot of once the spiders find that out, they will probably be dying toward the bottom side more often than not. But this is a really good hook placement for Ranga so far. The really nice area to be able to look around the generators and really see what the survivors are trying to do. So what generators are they trying to prioritize and get some turn back the clock value. That's what I like to see from the top ropes. Turn back clock is just such a great perk, but we are 3-splitting these generators though, because that chase did end fairly early for the Lich. We will have to 3-split and get some of that pressure back. We go over to 11, kick it a little bit by that eruption to throw the orb toward 1, which we will see it highlight. I forget which survivor it was over there at 1, but we will see it be highlighted. And Ranga's just happy to sit here and wait for them to go second, because I mean, with such an early start, we have that leisure to just sit here and chill out here. But we do find Zlappy here able to sneak right in and get the trade for Zlappy here. But I believe we are just going to pick this up and go for another pain rush. Keep the gen pressure going, keep the gen regression going. We did see the eruption proc in the background, and then of course we have the fly. We could go back for Rhea, and we do turn back the clock 11, and yes, that's exactly what we're doing, going back toward the bottom side of the map. A lot stronger of resources to use. We do make it over to Shack, and immediately dropping the Shack pallet, not even waiting for Branger to get even close to them. But yeah, I think we will be happy with staying around Shack. We are near somewhat of an active generator, so a gen is not gonna pop for this chase quite yet. And if we're able to do a lot of good mind games, maybe get the skeletons rolling, Ranga might be able to end this chase really soon. Oh, just barely missed the heels of Rhea over here, and they will able to light over to this TNL. This is the chase that Celestial needs, that they want to bring this back, because like I said, Ranga is, oh my gosh, make you definitely feel the wind of the sword swooshing behind Rhea, and going into the Palestone. Hill gets the nice Palestone on the double pallet. This is exactly what the survivors of Celestial need to get back into this thing. Ranga was so far ahead in their on the killer side that they were able to just take their time, but really the survivors bringing this pressure back. We do find Zlappy here, another tunnel out potential survivor here, but they will make it down toward the I guess they're not going to pass toward the under gate of 11, or at least the under area over there. But so this will be our tunnel out once again. But yeah, very well played by the survivors. What was looking like it could be pretty scary is kind of being brought back. We're still in still no more other gens have popped for this for that recovery, but I still think the survivors are in a fair position yeah, from what they were starting at here, Hunter.
Yes, they are, and all of a sudden, Ranga going to be taking that egregious swing through the pallet there. Doesn't even matter if you get stunned. That sacrifices so much distance for our survivor. Blocked with the flight mechanic as well. There's going to be the quick 2-tap Oh no, and that's all kind of fell apart for Alex G. However, in the background, Zalapi does get FTP to preserve the tunnel out there, so gonna be a little bit harder for Ranga to go back and facilitate that after getting the hook towards the central part of the map here. Does utilize the orb over into corner 7, and hopefully we can catch somebody out just stealthing about after just momentarily hopping off of that generator. And no, does not seem anybody is working it, at least that's what the orb is telling us. 4 generators still remaining, so it is looking pretty gruesome for our survivors. Going to be kicking this generator here over the top portion of main and just straight back into the flight mechanic where we can potentially catch out a tunnel out, making the rotation over towards 1. However, it might just be the next best thing. The injured survivor being Cahill, still broken after that FTP. Going to be taking chase around that Orman tile here towards 1. And just going to be running past that window there, potentially winning the 50-50 vault there. No, just losing it as we did preemptively vault it, trying to evade any sort of come around the corner. But no, we never really came around the corner. Just played around the backside and then hit him after the vault there. And you do see the likes of 3 being done in the background or in the distance there. I don't know if it was 3 or Shaq somewhere around there, but you know what, it's all done and dusted at the moment. Zalapi going to be just stealthing about there and everybody just putting the game to a halt. You know, you don't want to be found in a vulnerable position, especially if you're Alex G, who's injured, or Zalapi, who is the tunnel out. Ideally, probably Ray to be taking this chase next up here and then just allowing for the pull to happen in the background. But we do manage to get the pull, speaking of which, not too sure what Survivor was doing that. However, it does not matter considering that we have yet to find our chase, and Ranga has the game at a halt here, but does know that there was a pull happening over towards 3 with a rotation there. So he's able to take the chase on to whoever this is, but I do believe it is the best survivor for the job as far as the survivors go. It is Ray. And Ranga, knowing that, knows that it's probably easier to capitalize on somebody that is either 1 injured or 1 closer to death. And doing that is just going to be traversing back into 7 with the flight mechanic there, trying to cut off the rotation towards Shaq, but doesn't quite aid him. He has the likes of turn back the clock, which is going to stop the generator from a distance there. You know, it's pain res, it's just like pain res in your back pocket. However, it's just not enough, not as much regression, I do believe. However, there's going to be a nice crouch at the window there and just going to be getting hit before. No, we've evaded it very nicely and now playing the mind games around the T and ultimately winning them. But we've played preemptive on the swing. You need to be patient, and more patient than that, Ranga. Oh no. And now we're going to be forced to leave that there. We don't want to overcommit Alex G after he is going to make the shack, so that's not something that's within our interest, but it would have aided us definitely if we got that down. Just being able to escape with murder there. We do manage to find someone out here over at 8. It's going to be our Adam, who is our tunnel out Zalapi. This is a survivor that we want, and we want them down quickly. We want another 2-tap like we had over at main. That's a nice crouch of the skulls, but it's going to result in the tag after shortly vaulting the pallet there. Straight back into the middle of the map there. Ranga going to be pulling up with the throwing up gang signs, really trying to use that flight mechanic, but it's still on cooldown. Everything on cooldown at the moment. So, oh, there goes the flight now, and it's just returned to us. We're going to be stopping at the tires, and it's going to be a tunnel out on the floor just before the pallet. But it's on a pallet. Is there a pallet save? Surely there is. Please, no. Oh, Celestial. Oh no, and they really needed that to happen. Cahill was just a little too far from the pallet there, and all of a sudden it's a 3v1 at 3 generators remaining. About to be 2, but still 3 as it currently stands. It's looking really in the favor of Ranga right now here, Peaches.
Oh, you hate to see it. You saw the survivor coming from the distance, trying to make it to their teammate, but not quite able to reach it. Although we do see the 3rd generator pop, so we do have a fairly good gen split for the side of the survivors. We have the gen at 7. We kind of have this mid gen. We have 11. I think I didn't see where the 4th gen was okay, but it's toward the left side of the map. Yeah, we have the mid at 9, 11, and 7. So it's not the worst split in the world for the survivors. Definitely something that I think we can still see at least the 4K0 at the very worst for the survivors, but Ranga's still looking pretty solid. I mean, and we find the injured survivor, exactly the chase that we want to take, although it is going to go toward the area of the map where we don't want to be. It is away from the active generator, so if this chase lasts a little bit too long, we might see a 4th gen pop. We go for the hand and we go for the window instead. Very well played, reading Ranga that was going to pull up the pallet, but now we are forced to leave. This chase is going a little bit too long for Ranga, and we will see there's a little bit of progress on this middle generator here instead of some of the other ones. I think 7 did have a good amount of progress. I know 11's had a ton of regression done to it, so that it will definitely be reaching its limit soon. We do find, I believe this is Cahill over here at the shack. Yes, it is. We trying to block him from the window, and no, we're not quite able to do so. We are able to vault into the window, into the killer, without being blocked from it, and now all we have is this window to work with. I think we should be able to path back over to 6 or maybe.
Oh. Did we lose Peaches again after the fire alarm? I'm not too sure, but I'll take over this one just for a little bit until we know what's happening and going on. However, still following up the chase here onto Cahill. He is our one man for the job, and he's going to be going down shortly after the pallet there. He is just going to be hooked as well, and that's going to put the game to a halt for our survivors once more, as, you know, it's not enough to really get any worryable pressure on the map here. It's just not enough to even get a reset, realistically. I think they were pressing the generators considering the fact that there was no reset. Or if there was, it went underneath my nose because I'm not too sure if Ray was injured at any point. However, that is going to be 11 done. Yes, we were going for that pressure. However, it's going to be Ray in chase now. And we're going to be checking with the orb to see if anybody's over at far 3 working that. And you anticipate that that's going to be Alex G. Yes, he's going to be getting caught with the orb there, but he's not working the generator. He is getting the pull. And very nice movement coming in from Ray. They're going to be faking the vault for some unknown reason. Probably should have been taking it in all honesty, but going to be also making towards 8 after getting tagged. And the pallet has not been broken here, so it's going to be pretty hard for our killer to be working with. Does opt to break it here and straight back on the case after taking the flight back into form. Really trying to cut off that rotation back to the 7 generator, and there is nobody here. Maybe over at mid 3, who knows? But orb goes up to check over into the distance, over more towards 8 to see if anybody is, you know, playing the resets or whatnot. And Cahill going to be broken with, I do believe that it might be clean break, honestly, but going to be taking the chase here more towards the jungle gym pallet, and we pre-drop the pre-crouch, sorry, the skulls. Pre-drop the jungle gym to make it a little bit harder for our killer to be working with. Hand goes up, but we make the window anyway. Oh, the savior himself! No way! Oh, that was the ultimate cat!
Oh my gosh, Alex saving this match from being a 2v1, which could have possibly turned this into a 4K1. I'm sorry to take your thunder. The smoke has tried taking my internet. I'm coming back here. But yeah, because of that body block, we're still in the 3v1, which might have bought Cahill just a little bit of time to get that clean break off, and just a little bit, even more pressure on 7. Yeah, you do see one of the survivors running away from that, but oh my gosh, get down, Mr. President. What a play from Ray. I absolutely flabbergasted here. We do find Cahill here once again making their way over to 11, but this is exactly the chase that we want to see. This is the healthy survivor, and it is pulling away from the active generators, and at the very least will give the their teammates enough time to at least get a reset off or get something done with this time. We don't see any sloppy butchers, so the resets should be coming in fairly smooth if they are able to meet up. And yeah, 7 has a good amount of progress. We do see some scratch marks around here, so I think I saw a little bit on the right side. We do see the Killer Instinct as well making their way toward 3, but you can see the Killer Instinct is making its way toward the top side, and that is still, once, as I've said multiple times, away from the active generators, and that's not where Ranga wants to take that chase. And as I was saying it, we find Ray here toward the bomb site, and if we get them down here, this would be in the middle of, I guess, whatever 3-gen that we have here. We go for the skulls, not quite able to make it. We fake the window, we are successful with it, but I don't think we can make anything else, although there is this pallet in a hole, but we swing through it, and we do get the down after the pallet drop, but we know that there's a lot of, we saw the eruption proc on 7, so maybe we suspected that someone was there, so we quickly checked it out, used the Trepath clock, and we will go back for the pickup onto Ray. But we do see the full reset onto Alex and Cahill with the clean break. So clean break, yeah, we'll proc in about 60 seconds and we'll be fully healthy once again. But now the survivors are in a interesting situation here. So like I said, this 3-gen is definitely, it definitely can be broken, but with this hook right next to the highest progress gen, Kahill's still going to be broken for a little bit until the clean break procs. It could be pretty dangerous for the side of Celestial. For Rango, though, I think this is a really good spot for him. He's able to clean up a lot of these resources. And hello, Alex, what are you doing here? I'm sorry, Rango was just having a good time sweeping up the area, breaking some of the pallets, and we find another survivor here. This is Alex is trying to come in for the save, so looks like we are going to be happy with taking this chase, because we know Cahill will probably be working away at a gen rather than going for the unhook. We do see the unhook instead, unless Cahill's timer is almost up and we'll be fully healthy, because sending in the injured survivor for the unhook can be deadly, but it was able to work out for the side of the survivors. But yeah, this is a really back and forth seesaw type match here, Hunter. I think if one if one side goes too far or one wrong mistake happens, I think that's where we'll see the tides turn in one way or another.
They're not giving it up easy, though. I will say that. As you were pointing out just a little bit earlier, it was really risky for an injured survivor to go for the pull. I would agree. We're very fortunate that Cahill was able to heal himself with a clean break during the midst of getting that unhook. But I do believe that it would have been Alex G, the man for the job at that point just beforehand, because he was so close to it over at Shack. There just would have been a communication coming in that then, we were unable to get the save after being in chase over at the Shack. However, Ray will be going down after being unhooked there. Even slugged too, because we know the pressure is a little too far gone. Actually, there's not really too much happening here over towards 8, and we have won the 50-50 vault there. So Ranga going to be playing around that outside wall again. No pallet here, so this will just spell the tag after vaulting that really weirdly placed Z wall, half a Z wall, whatever you want to call it. So Ranga has options here. He can either leave and intercept the... oh, actually, no. Ray is back off the floor. My apologies. He can just commit this safely because there's not really any pressure to be worried about on the map. The 7's unable to be done. Chase has been taken away the other generator. And again, Alex G coming in for that protection hit to preserve Cahill, but it's not just going to be working out. He will be down on the floor. He will be out of the trial, hooked into the middle of the map there. And you have 2 survivors that are currently injured on the map. What's the best course of action here? Probably to just play for the generators, because they're not going to be able to get any sort of a reset happening, and you just got to pray for, I guess, like a 90-second chase. However, going to be taking that break onto the generator, and this is just way too holdable. With Eruption still and the generators so close together and everybody's still injured in the trial, it's pretty much GG, especially if he just decides to commit onto Alex G here over at the Shack. But ultimately, he wants something better. He wants Ray, because Ray doesn't really have a lot to be running onto after leaving over towards 8. Has the drop filler over at 11, but what else after that? Going to be trying to cut them off through the ice, and I'm not too sure that was the play. That was just a fake. Yeah, there it is. So just able to make away with that distance. We have brought ourselves, but not to the drop pallet, unfortunately. Trying to hold our killer too, so ultimately we did catch up with our survivor in the end. That's going to be Ray going down, and the eruption pop as well to stop the survivor that was working it. And it is going to be Alex G trying to send 8, but ultimately not really much you can do in this scenario. Just going to be going down before the Shack and solidified 4K1. So a very good game played by Ranga. He's put Diamond Dogs in the position of hot pursuit, where potentially we can be taking away this set, because 4K1 on a Lich set, definitely a feat. It's well above the expected result as opposed of the tournament average. I do think the tournament average is a little bit blown out of proportion as in contrast to the expected result. If we do look at the statistics on a Lich set, 10 stages for Fresh is the tournament average, 8 stages is the expected result, and right now we've smashed it out of the water with a 4K1. It's absolutely incredible stuff here from Ranga to be able to pull this kind of game.
Yeah, absolutely. And just want to also highlight just a little bit, because we didn't talk too much about it toward the beginning of the matchup. Looking at the standings as it is, Diamond Dogs is in 2nd place.
Welcome back, everybody, to the second half of the Lich set. It's going to be Ray on the killer this time around for Celestial, and on the side of Diamond Dogs, you got Beanie, Hasso, Supersaurus, and Ranga. So these guys, well versed in this set, I might add. Hasso making his return this season around. Give him a round of applause, but we'll have yet to see how he fares up, as we do have the killer being Ray. Just someone who's just well renowned for Celestial, playing everything that they know and love, especially the M1 killers. So as far as Lich set goes, I don't really have any information for everybody sitting over at home watching OSL. I mean, we'll just have to wait and see realistically. But Ray going to be using that elevation tech straight off the rip and breaking a very strong door right off the bat. Very nice stuff. Going to be utilizing that flight mechanic to get back down to 3 to cut off any sort of rotation towards Shack, but sees nobody. And potentially our survivors could be stealthing around, sneaking about. However, we have still yet to find them. He is just going to be traversing towards 2, and Hasso hasn't moved from 1, just hiding behind the snow pile. You know what? You know what would be interesting is if you could actually take from the snow and start throwing snowballs at the killer. That would be absolutely incredible. But we've had that before, and that was the Christmas event not too long ago. But regardless, we are going to be following up here on to our survivor Beanie. He's going to be eating a tag shortly after dodging those skulls there. He's going to be rotating towards the middle of the map where hopefully we can have some nice RNG to be working with. 8 going to be pretty strong. Not as strong as the last time around for the last trial. However, we do utilize the window here. We have Ranger ready for a body if we do need, but do we make the pallet again? Hand goes up. Do we make the window? I don't think we do. That's nowhere near enough distance, and Ranger just missing the catch. Unfortunately, he is not Alex G this time around, maybe a little later on in the trial, but this will be the first stage of the trial allocated towards us, and a pain resonance at that, Peaches.
Yeah, this is looking pretty solid for Ray. I mean, it was good for a lot of the survivors to like hide around and wait for. I think they were trying to stealth out Corrupt. I believe that was the play, as we did see Hasso in the corner 1. We saw Supersource in a locker. We did see Beanie hiding around, kind of around the 11 tower there. So I wonder if that was the original play. But as you can see, it did not work out too well, and the survivors were so far away from any generators. The chase was not that bad at all for Beanie at all. I mean, they got from 11 over down to the 9 area, and we almost even had the buy block for that. Rango almost able to get the buy block, but because of that, the survivors were so far away from the gens, and those generators that were close by were corrupted. I mean, there's just not enough gen pressure on the map for that chase, and we do get the unhook onto Beanie. If this chase goes by pretty quick, this could be pretty rough for the Diamond Dogs. We use our skeletons. We're not quite. Well, what? Ray expecting a head-on play or something, swinging at the lockers. I'm not quite sure what that was about. We go for the pallet. We drop. Oh, I don't think we were able to get the pallet stun. I don't even think we can get the pallet stun. I think we are able to pull them out. Yeah, we were able to pull them out. No one is around. But yeah, this timeout is coming by pretty quickly. And with that first gen popping, we do see Wretched Fake being brought into play. It is a very interesting perk to bring on the Lich. I know we see it a ton on the A to S tier killers, but with all the perks that are open for the Lich, it is a interesting perk to use. I'm not too sure how I feel about it here, Hunter.
You either swear by it or you die by it, honestly. It's a weird perk. It does get its value. Granted that you're not actually tunneling the obsession, let's be for real here, but I mean, also being broken on very early, it's a trade-off. It's a hex, you know. Of course, it doesn't spawn in the map straight off the rip to be broken, but even right about now, it's just going to get no value. And it's the obsession on the totem too, so it's just max efficiency from Diamond Dogs. You really got to applaud them in that sense to call out the correct macro decisions. However, it will come at the cost of getting Beanie at the dying seconds here. Not too early, not too late. Gave something for Ranger to do off in the distance instead of stealthing around for the pool, might I add, but regardless, he is going to be coming in for the pool now. He's going to be getting tagged just before. Does he get 2-tapped before the pool? This is going to be close! Oh, it was so close! Oh, but he will be going on the floor regardless, and this will be the chase back onto Beanie, who only has the pallet just to our disposal, does opt to greet it, and we've read straight through that. Does still have the 5% haste status effect to be working with here, but does he get grabbed off the window? No, we've opted not to hit him and give him the speed boost there just momentarily. He didn't miss that swing. He missed that swing on purpose. However, skulls go up, not connecting. Hand goes up. Going to be holding up the pallet for us. Thank you, madam. He's going to be going down just before making anything else. There's no body in sight. And that's our tunnel out. Going at 3 generators remaining. 2 generators to be, actually, because Supersaurus is about to be popping. But what does our split say about this matchup here? We have the 3 gen over at the bottom side of the map here. So does have to hold on to all remaining generators if he is to take away the win condition. However, it is looking extremely gruesome for all our survivors. They're going for a split after the reset, and who better to take the chase than the big Hasso? What can he pull out of the hat here over at the cylinders? Does not get hit by the skulls here, but does evade them and ultimately runs into the killer. This will result in a tag straight off the rip. We do get the flight back into our hands. We've dropped the pallet on the correct side because we've tried to bait out some sort of a misplay. Life coming in to aid us a little bit because we've ran into a whole bunch of weird stuff, and he's going to be utilizing the pallet just laid up for him as well over to the corner of 8. So he really has to put the jets on. It's doing really well at the moment, playing the 50s. The likeness wins a couple $150. Give him hell. So no, he goes down. but he had a fairly good chase for what it's worth. Ray probably has to, no, he doesn't have to slay because he has a pain res and stack. I'm talking absolute bullshit. So there's going to be a pickup here and a hook over into the corner of 9, straight back onto the case towards those generators. It is very fine out of our way, especially if we are to be able to hold on to everything here. This actually might be the draw for this set if we're able to uphold the pressure. Ray going to be chasing towards the shack. It is the most progressed generator being interrupted. I thought it was one that was farly progressed, but no, I have been mistaken. We do take the kick. There's going to be eruption applied onto that generator, following back up towards the shack, playing around the corners, in through the middle. Can we catch out Ranger off guard? And no, he's a little too smart, a little too well versed in the ones. Up goes the pallet there with the hand, going to try and bait out the vault. We fall for it and a little too late. That's going to result in the tag. Hasso up and at them off the hook with second wind to his disposal. He will be healed as well. Pallet goes down over towards 6. Running into the guts of the middle of the map here, trying to make a good death location. Block before the vault here. Can Ranger make it? No, he has to run around the long side of the loopable wall, and then out come the skulls. We make the window vault. No, we didn't. Sorry, the pallet vault rather. We just ultimately go down, unfortunately. And we're really trying to solidify that tie condition there. He's going to be picking up Ranger, and that's going to be the pain resonance now. That's going to slam onto 1, and hopefully Ray picks up on that. They're not going to be working 3. He knows not to check 7 or 6. He has to go to either 1 or 3. And Hasso forced off the generator as he has been injured, and that will give the info for our killer that they'll be slamming out generators, but I don't think it gives a damn, and this could potentially be a blunder. Hasso caught in between a rock and a hard place. Does he play for tie condition, or does he play for best possible result? Tie condition would impose that he just commits the generator. Playing for win condition means he gets the unhook in the background. What do you think, Peaches?
I think we might still see the win condition in total, because yeah, I think we will see Hasso pop that gen, and if the super source can last just a little bit longer over here at Shack, Hasso should be able to also get the unhook, not before Rango goes second stage, but it's not possible. Oh, super source not quite able to make it through the window, but with that gen popping, we do at least reach the tie condition. Yeah, the orb I think will just barely miss Hasso, so Hasso still has a chance to potentially sneak around and get the unhook, or at least go for the pickup. This game is not over yet unless Ray gets eyes on them, but with Ray able to hold this middle position, it might as well be the tie here. I mean, Hasso would have to be stealthing crazy, playing maybe those edge maps in, like, maybe around going toward the 3 tile, maybe using the 11 side, maybe try to use the snow even to blend in. And yes, we see the unhook. Yeah, this game is not over yet. We do find Rango over here at 9. If they can last just a little bit, use their BT to their full advantage, use the haste, maybe Hasso can wrap around, get the pick up onto Super Source, and then double out either that Shack dinner or that 1 toward 3. That's 3 did have a lot of progress. 7 also had a lot of progress. Going for the hand and not quite able. Wait, we get the reverse pallet stun. We get the stun through the hand. I cannot believe I've seen that. There's some times where when the hand is pulled up, you can spam your spacebar, spam your pallet button, and you can still get the stun through the hand, and we able to see that happen. And yes, look at that. This chase is going super long. Hasso was able to get the pickup onto Super Source, although this is the end of Renga, that we're able to get the pickup onto Super Source, and we can still play this 2v1, although this gen spread is pretty similar to the one that we saw before, but this matchup is not quite over yet. This is not over yet. This is looking pretty close. It is looking like Ray will take the tie, but the fight that Diamond Dogs is putting up is one heck of a fight.
Yes, it is. Ray still doesn't have the game in his hands just yet. It's at his fingertips, but he has to make sure that he downs somebody. All in the meantime, Supersaurus gonna be healthy. Hasso's healthy. Ray still in forever search of his next up chase, and that 3 gen in the background definitely still is holdable. The fact of the matter is, can we actually, you know, get the win condition from this point onwards? And it's going to be a long set to find that out, but Ray knows that. Does see some crows flying down, but I do believe those are his, so he is going to rotate back to the middle of the generators to try and press off whoever's working 7. If there is anybody working 7, I don't think that there is. I think they would have left a long time ago if that was the case, or, you know, I don't think they're stealthing by. It'd be kind of foolish to do so. However, Ray going to be taking that break onto the generator. A little bit of a jump scare in the background. Not too sure what that noise was, but anywho, we are going to be using that orb straight back into the corner of 8 to spot out any stealth survivors. However, there's going to be nobody in the lockers, nobody in plain sight. We do see somebody working over at 3, and I think that just might have been Hasso. I don't really know because I couldn't really see it too much. However, you do see another one rotating off 8. So they're pressing the flanks here. Yeah, that's going to be Super Source over at 7 and Hasso over at 3. Hasso's going to be rotating off off into the distance there, and then just utilizing this window to play his Vault of Life straight into the pallet, being held up by the hand here. Does greed the window as well, but ultimately has to delay the tag, so he's forced into an awkward path as he has pre-dropped the pallet here. Sacrificed his distance as well. Just went back to the edge map and then straight back to where he'd started, and he got sniped by the skulls. Oh, that's ugly. However, with Eruption, you do see the aura, and that has just chopped up our 4K1 scenario here for the tie condition. So the final chase going on to Supersaurus here. He's played a very tremendous game and unfortunately wasn't able to take it away for his team just yet. But he's going to be vaulting the window after pre-dropping the Shack pallet. He's just forced over into 7, straight with the flight again to follow up the chase here. Going to be body blocking him, and you know, there was actually a few nice fillers that could have been used a little bit earlier on in the trial. However, you know, better easier said than done. And we're going to be crouching the skulls there. Supersaurus putting on the show right now, but does ultimately go down after vaulting the pallet there. And this will be just Ray taking the match back into his hands. Does not matter if Hasso bleeds out. Does not matter if, oh, it would have mattered if Supersaurus bled out because, you know, he hadn't been hooked yet. However, Hasso on the floor doesn't really mean anything too much, so we'll probably be going into the next matchup around, which will be, or next set this time around, yeah, again, which will be Nightmare on Dead Dog Saloon. A lot of DDS tonight, Peaches. What are you thinking? Me too. I love that input. No, I do apologize. He has had a pretty rough day, but yes, I think that honestly, the Nightmare is anybody's set, but it will be the pick.
Welcome back, everyone, from our very short intermission. We are now on to our second set, Nightmare on Dead Dog Saloon. Just to do a quick recap on the first set, Lich was tied 4K1 to 4K1 Celestial. Definitely feeling great about that set. I mean, tying a set or winning a set that's not yours going into a set that you did pick has to feel good, especially going against the Diamond Dogs. Diamond Dogs are fairly known for their Lich sets. Renga is really good on the Lich, and I was looking back in previous matches a little bit in the standings, and they've been very successful with it. So even being able to tie a set that is very popular with your opponent has to feel good. So now we see Ray on the killer side. We see some once again we see the Wretched Fate. That is a very interesting perk for Freddy. I would expect to see maybe Pain Res or Eruption or some form of gen regression, but seeing the Wretched Fate on a killer that's not an A or S tier is always odd to me. I know it definitely what you've been saying, Hunter. You either you die for it or you hate it or whatever it is. It's one or the other. But I'm definitely more on the side of I don't necessarily see the full value of the perk under A tier.
Honestly, I think the same. Because people use it in compensation for the fact that you can't really bring anything else because the perk isn't that great. And I feel like there's just so much more better selection that you could be bringing on a Nightmare set, but I guess it's what Ray's comfortable with, so we'll run with it. And as I say that, we are going to be taking up the first chase onto Ranga here, who's utilizing the 7 pallet. He does go down. Vaulting into the loving embrace of Ray will spell the first tag of the match. Now, we do have the Shack to our disposal. It will have to go down after being hit with that, what do you want to call the projectile? I'll just call it the projectile. It's called something, I know,
Dream
but
Snare.
I completely
Dream
forget.
Snare.
The Dream Snare? We call it, it's Dream Snare? Okay, cool.
Yeah,
We'll just
Dream
call it,
Snare.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
thank you. Anyway, going to be using that Dream Snare at this short filler here over at 6. We're going to have Life in hand, and we're going to be able to make the window. Hasso, that is the renowned Life player amongst every single team that he plays on. He loves his perk, but regardless, he is going to be trying to make it to the main building after just narrowly missing that projectile there, but is going to be slapped and just forced to use the top part of main. He's going to be, actually no, he's going to be utilizing the outskirts and trying to make it down to 1. The diversion's crazy. I'm not too sure where the pathing is leading us, but he's going to be leading us to 1 ultimately. I think that was a death spot that was called the death location rather. They're going to be going down. This will be the first hook of the trial here with no pain resonance this time, which should be pretty interesting per Freddy set, as you know, it tends to be a popular pick. However, this will be the hook just right in front of us here over at 1, and the first stage coming in before Wretched Fate is actually taken into effect, because this is also our our obsession, mind you. So Hasso will have the debuff. We will not want to be facilitating the tunnel out onto him because we will not get any value. However, you know, Ruin out of the trial as well. This will give our survivors that extra bit of leeway that they need. Hang on a second, we're looping with friends. Hello. We got 1 injured and 1 healthy, all in the corner of 4. 1 doing a generator over at 9. We know this chase is safe to commit, but we've unzoned ourselves. Very smart from Ranga there to just be so perceptive and notice that, oh, I'm in danger. Let's just try to play the distance because there's no chance he double backs the edge map, right? And like clockwork, Ray just going back to camp out that second stage onto Hasso as we have just, you know, pushed our survivors off those generators over at 4. So we're forced to work main even. Is this a fake teleport? No, he's committed to main. I didn't even see where he was teleporting to, and we're going to be trying to deny the drop down there. This is going to be Beanie in chase now after he does vault the window straight into the middle portion of the lower half of main. We do see in the background there is somebody ready for the rotation. I think that is Supersaurus that we caught glimpse of here. He's caught over at 2. He isn't able to go for the pull just yet. That's the second stage happening onto Hasso, all for 1 generator at the moment. So it looks like we are just going to be following up the tunnel out after he comes off of the hook, which will be unfortunate as Perk's sake, but as far as the game goes, I mean, we're in such a good spot. Having a tunnel out this close and this early on, if you can get it down to 3 generators remaining or even 2 and have that tunnel out secured, it could be game over for Diamond Dogs. However, your one saving grace has came to our rescue. It is going to be Beanie with that FTP in his backhand and just going to be slapping on onto Hasso. Now Hasso, all he has to do is sit tight, try to evade the killer's line of sight, his vision, and just last, you know, if he does get found in chase, because it can prove to be problems if he is 2-tapped right off the rip. That's the generator over at 4 being done as well. So it split the map up very nicely here. This is going to be our injured survivor in chase, Beanie, but we do manage to find Hasso as well. So we're going to divert from Beanie straight back onto Hasso. Hasso really has to last. Like I said, needs to utilize the top main building window because there's nothing else to his advantage. He is going to be hitting the medium there. So if he did hit the fast vault, he was able to just last that little bit longer before being tagged. That's going to be the break of the door as well, and we're just sending it down into 9, into 8. We're trying to cut him off with the teleport onto Gallows Gen. Where did the killer go? Hasso getting a little bit lost for a second. Does pre-drop the pallet though and catches his bearings just once more. We have intercepted a generator that has so much progression on it. Do we have maybe another gen that's about this far done? I'm not too sure why we're taking chase into the active, big man, but ultimately, this will spell his demise. I feel like it would have been enough time if he just looped around main. It probably would have been the same amount of time as it took to rotate towards this section of the map, and we would have even really, interrupted that gen over at 8. So taking the kick onto main here, we're going to get our kicks in. We don't have eruption, but we do hear a sad Beanie just over in the top part of 1. So where did they go this time around? There goes the drop, and we're still trying to see where they went. Balance landing away, all the way into 2. No pallet to be working with, but we have one on the outside of main. We don't catch our survivor just yet. Supersaurus back on 8, I do presume. And we are trying to get a little bit too antsy with these swings. We need to calm down just a little bit. Really trying to take effect of that down and put the pressure on. Maybe that will allow us to slug and interrupt the generator over at 8 potentially. After we get that slug, we're thinking about it. Look, he's thinking about it. Teleporting over at 8. Does he make it just yet? No! Wait, he's scared. Wait, he was scared Supersaurus off the generator. Surely he goes back and taps it because that thing is so quick to being popped. No, ultimately gets the kick on this generator. Doesn't really matter too much. We're going to be seeing that 5% initial regression rate onto it, and it's going to be slowly just transcending into its demise. However, Supersaurus now going to be getting tagged. Even just greeting this pallet here over towards the carriage and just making towards 6 for a better death location. But we're going into the middle of all the generators. We're rotating off because we want somebody to go back and pop it and at least solidify 4K2. However, we're getting a reset onto Ranga. Beanie up, and he is currently broken, and I'm not too sure. I think that might actually be clean break itself. So going to be getting some more value off of that Dream Snare. That's going to be Supersaurus on the floor, and all of a sudden, the game has turned on its head. The survivors definitely had the position to take it back and make sure the pressure was all there, but, you know, with the chase being taken around 8 so often, it just, the generator was popped a little too late, I would believe, because now there's a basement hook. You have Hasso out of the game. Actually, we didn't even pop 8. That would have been main, so, no, it wasn't main. Where was that gen pop? Was it?
8 did
it
pop.
Was 8. It was 8.
8 did pop main us up. Yeah. Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
'cause it's
So
orange.
yeah, yeah, the color scheme is definitely throwing me off a little bit as well here. And we do find, oh my gosh, Ray put on the long fingernails today. Oh my gosh, I can't believe he hit through that. We get the injured Rango going over toward the water tower here, but this, like you're saying, this is looking pretty deadly for the side of survivors. We are able to go for get a 4th gen out of the way, trying to fake the teleport, trying to force them to vault into the killer, but not quite able to. But we still get the down regardless. But I think this will ultimately be a 4K1 unless Beanie is able to somehow stealth around. I don't think we know. We gotta be careful. We might see this shadow. We don't see him. I'm sorry, they're right there. They're right there behind the boxes. We see the shadow, and okay, we did something for a second. I was about to say, I'm sorry.
W teammates, that's a com. That's a com.
Yeah. But I was about to say, but yeah, this will be a 4K1 unless he accidentally hits the hook or something. But which he does accidentally hit the hook. Wait, no, okay, no, right, okay, no, I'm visual bug. I'm sorry, I'm freaking out for no reason at all whatsoever. Never mind. Whatever I was saying, I had explosive reaction there. But yeah, this will be the final chase on the Superstars unless they're able to get the pickup on Duranga, which I don't think we will see. Waiting out the BT to go for the grab. That is the end of the game unless Ranga or Beanie is able to bleed out. Then we might see a different result. But 4K1 though on Freddy, Dead Sonic Saloon with a lot of those exhaustion perks allowed. This is a pretty good result to go with. I'm pretty happy with it, especially with a bunch of the hexes being cleansed so early on. The Ruin got cleansed super early. Wretched Fate got cleansed. I mean, even though it didn't seem to get too much value, but this is a pretty solid result. Do you know what the average is for the Freddy?
Off the top of my head, it should be about 8 stages, maybe. Okay, I'll just look this 8 stages. All right, so it's within that ballpark of mid-tier, the like slightly higher tier stages. So 4K1 definitely a very good result. Tournament average is 4K2, and you know it's more amongst the average of what we've been seeing. I'm not too sure how many Freddy sets there have been, but if my scorecard says correctly, there's 2, and this is the 3rd one. So, oh my, just. Not really what you anticipate here, but I guess what were the mistakes being made? I guess running into the active was pretty bad over at 8. A little too many times to be worrisome, and maybe just should have opted to die over at main. Again, that's all in hindsight. I don't really know how the match would have panned out shortly after. I feel like it was always going into that 4K1 type of scenario, considering...
Welcome back, everyone, to the second trial of the second set. The previous result, Celestial got a 4K1 on Freddy, Dead Dog Saloon. So now, we'll be swapping sides. Ranga on the Freddy, they will have to get a 4K2 for the win con, or go for the 4K1, go for the tie, and tie it up just like they did with the Lich set. I'm curious to see what other builds, what these survivors can do. I mean, this is the Celestials pick. They are on paper the ones to win this set, and they'll definitely be aiming for that. As like I said, the standings there in 4th, they definitely need this win today. Hallelujah, Hasso. I'm sorry, not Hasso. Hunter, hallelujah for this build. I'm sorry, as I've said in all these sets today, we are not seeing the Wretched Fate anymore. Thank you very much. I will take my Pain Resistance and my Undying Ruins. I am very happy to see this build here, Hunter. Thank goodness. I mean, if there's a build that's going to get the 4K2, I think this is the one to do it here.
It's an aggressive build, 100% double ruin. Like we had said, I think yesterday, is a trade-off. You know, you bring it in if 2 totems get broken, you're a 2 perk Andy. 1 perk if you bring in Corrupt Intervention. However, that's not brought around this time around. We're sacrificing it to be just that little bit more proactive amongst the chases and whatnot, and the downs and the regression. So playing the aggressive game instead of the passive defensive mode that you usually see, that you saw Ray play. It was pretty defensive, although like the gameplay itself tend to be a little bit more aggressive. The build itself was pretty defensive. However, we are going to be utilizing the palette here to full effect. We're going to be winning all kinds of 50s, and now Ray just forced off into the middle of the map there, but this is going to result in the slap, which will allow them to be able to make anywhere between 4 or 1, and I'm not too sure where they would have gone after this. However, Ranga is getting a little bit indecisive as to whether he wants to teleport or not, and has done so very nicely, as he, you know, he had the chance to either drop it if he wanted to commit the chase onto our injured survivor, or just teleport if it was not within our reach, and it wasn't within our reach. So we just opted to go back to main. However, this is going to be somebody on the corner of six, and I'm not too sure who this is, but there's going to be scratch marks leading around it. It's going to be, I do believe, Cahill, our Renato player, going to be medium vaulting that window there. With life in hand, is going to be able to escape away and make it around to the backside and utilize the shack pallet once more here. It's going to create that little bit of distance that we do need. After it goes down, it's going to be broken. We are going to be following up again. No, we've opted to leave and go for something else. And we're getting a little bit too indecisive is what I would say. We do see in the background there that killer instinct coming in, so maybe we even just go over towards that part of the map. And no, we don't want anything of it. Ranger gonna still be playing around the pallet here and getting slapped in the face. It's gonna be Alex G making it away now. And Ranger, again, just leaving these chases, and the survivors are all in such good positions. Ray is currently injured and is probably the best survivor to be chasing, so thank God Ranger actually left that entirely. A body block coming in is unsuccessful from Cahill, but he is going to just be running away after shortly failing that attempt there. Does still have the pallet to be working with, but that's going to be thrown down. So it's a lot of good resources being used so early on in the trial. They need to uphold the gen pressure if they are able to just be chewing through these, and I think that's exactly what they're doing. Is, you know, you have that generator over at 8 with so much progress on it. You did see one pop in the background there. I do believe that was main. You know, the red and the orange does tend to make me a little bit blind often on these nightmare sets. However, we are going to be just momentarily traversing back towards this generator here over at Gallows, and that's going to result in a tag onto Alex G. He's going to take that injure, just rotate off the top of Gallows and try to get that balanced landing proc off on the way. Now, does manage to evade the projectile there, the Dream Snare, and unfortunately, that's going to be a little bit too far out of our reach for Ranger to follow up. He is going to go back for the tunnel out here and keep the pressure on the map, keep the pressure in the game. However, we will have to have a fairly good chase from our survivor off of the hook, and with only 1 health state to spare and with endurance status effect gone, it could potentially not be the case. However, Ranger going to be trying to cut them off, and ultimately we read straight through it, so that's going to allow him to break the pallets, get everything out of the vicinity here. We do hear them very sad and very nearby. Still, again, Ray is going to be vaulting the window and straight back down to 2, where what do we have to our advantage? Is there a pallet on the out front of main? There is, and it ain't fake. And it's going to be going down here. Going to have to be playing the 50s. Does win one and does lose the next one. Unfortunately, that will be Claudette going down, and we needed maybe just a little bit better of a chase than that. The 4K2 still on the books here for Ranger as he does take the hook here over towards the middle of the map. Not pain resonance, so it's not going to deny one road, but it is closer to the inevitable death of our tunnel out. At 3 generators remaining, anything is possible, especially if we're able to really press these survivors here towards bottom side of the map. But they're not going to be doing it easy. That's going to be a smash hit in the back pocket. Send him away. Our David Zalapi is just going to be going back to 8 and potentially even working that generator there. So Ranger, straight back on the case of our tunnel out. Can we see him? We know he's nearby. We're sniffing. We see the blood, and we're just going to be trailing along all the way into corner 1. It's going to be someone else entirely. It's going to be Cahill because of the FTP, and I completely forgot about that. Did not see it in the background, but I'm pretty sure all of you in the audience would have, because I am blind and old. However, Cahill going to be the next person for the job, and we baited out a successful diversion of the tunnel out. Cahill going to be utilizing the light and playing around the check spots effectively. That's going to force Ranger to break the pallet there, and ultimately may even contemplate leaving this. However, I think he wants the pain resonance in the end, just to slow the game down a little bit more, to be looking for the tunnel out. Ray with a big... It's horrible. Oh no, it's absolutely incredible from the likes of Ray being the tunnel out and getting a save in the process. Everybody up and at them again, and the gens in the background. We're pumping away. We've hopped on back towards 8. Zlappy forced over into the carriage pallet. We've greeted it nicely. Do we make the shack? We do. There's no pallet to be used, but there is a window in a dream. He's going to be slapped through it there, and that's going to force him down to use 4. That has been dropped. He's going to just evade the projectile of the up pallet, the fake pallet momentarily, and it's just going to be sended all the way down to 1. Look at that distance. Does that get him? I don't think it does. It was a little too lately put down, and you know, that's no fault of Ranger. That's just how the killer functions, I guess. Gonna be trying to cut him off from a rotation off of that vault there, but still not working out in his favor. Zalapi just got all kinds of distance to be working with. Does he make the window vault? Definitely not after medium vaulting it. I'll give him that. but going to be picking up here. That's going to be another Pain Resonance in the middle of the map. Now, what does the progression look like? If there's a 3 split going on, it's just chop chicken cheese for Ringer, but if there's a double, it can pause the progression. Mr. Streamer, after getting that hook, can we get, please, a rotation of what our survivors are doing in this moment? Ray playing aggressive on the pool, Cahill off the generators entirely, and Alex G off in the distance over towards 9. So there is a fair bit of progression on the map, but they're playing it safe. And Cahill, now the one in chase, is still injured here. I don't know if he's got clean break or not. I did not get a glimpse of that, but he's going to be using the carriage pallet over at 6 and going down just before the totem. Ranger, do you go for the pickup here, or do you go for the unhook on or the slug or the slug and back onto the case onto Ray? He's going to go for the pickup, play it safe, because we do have a Pain Resonance to be used, and we're going to be hooked into the middle of this backyard generated type of scenario, and that could prove to be pretty troublesome for our survivors to be dealing with here, Peaches.
Yeah, actually getting a really good look at this gen spread. Look at this. We have Gallows 9, 8, and is that 7 as well that I saw earlier? This is a really tight gen spread that Ranga has here. Like I was saying, if there is, yeah. Oh no. Sorry. It's not 7. It is closer to 5. My apologies. But still, that 3 gen is horrendous for the survivors to break. But Ranga is absolutely happy with that gen spread. But we are going to take the chase over to Alex on top of main. Again, main is a very strong resource, so we probably don't want to commit this. Yeah, we do see them leave Alex. We probably want to go find another Pain Res, maybe go find Ray. If we are able to find Ray, get that tunnel out, then we'll be looking good for the side of Ranga. But yeah, it looks like some of the survivors are just happy with getting rid of some of those other generators around the outside of the 3 gen, and then maybe come in together to tackle the 3 gen together. But with Ruin still up and in play, I really think, I mean, if the survivors really want to get this, at least get the Tycon or get the win with the 4K0, I think that Ruin needs to leave the trial here, because, I mean, with the Sloppy Butcher, you know, resets are going to take a little bit longer, which when you go into reset, then obviously you're off the gens, and then Ruin eats away at the generators. You see a missed skill check over here. You see Ray missing their skill check. Oh, another missed skill check. I'm sorry, I think they're getting a little camera shy here as we pan over to both of those survivors missing the skill checks. But yeah, it doesn't look like we're gonna have anyone coming in for the save. We need to get that gen pressure going. Like, so we need to at least secure the tie going into the 3rd set. But yeah, we do find Alex here. This is another Pain Res that we can go for. We're finally leaving Cahill over in the 3 gen, because that will force the survivor to get off of one of the generators that they were currently working on, which again will be regressed with Ruin. We often go for the teleport. We see the 3rd gen pop, we get the finesse, and we teleport back to our 3 gen. Checking our totem, as we know, like I said, with Ruin still in trial, we still have a chance of getting that 4K2, and plus we can just sit here right in between the 3 gen, the hook, totem, and use our Dream Snare to fire it at the survivor working in that 6 generator. Rango's in a really good spot, and plus if we get this tunnel out, we might actually see the win here. We do see Alex G coming in. Are they gonna be able to get this, or will Rango be able to buy block it? No, they're not going to be quite able to buy block it. We get the injury onto them. We'll probably commit them to at least get that Pain Res going, or get another hook into this 3 gen. Yeah, Alex will be down, and Cahill will be able to get away from the area, get to another survivor, get a reset going. We will see that 6th, that generator, I guess 5 or 6 area pop in just a moment. This is not a Pain Res hook, but it is still a good hook location for which is, like I said, in the middle of that 3 gen. We do find Zappy over here that just completed that generator. Ray or Kyle, both of them are death hook. Ray is definitely the one to go for it at the very least, although it is a tunnel up, so this could be a little scary. Ray is going back toward the hook. This could be kind of, we do see the unhook. Ray I believe that was Ray that got the unhook, and now they're gonna have to get through this 3 gen, somehow make it to the top side injured. If Rango's able to buy block Alex G just a little bit, or slow down that haste, then we might see another down on them, get another hook stage, and hook them back into that 3 gen, going for the win. Oh my gosh! Oh, the knives! I swear I saw the knives get shot from the glove of Freddy there. I saw it. You saw it, Hunter. It just lunged out of his palm, or out of his fingertips. Holy crap! And we're able to make it to a Pain Res. Oh my gosh, that ping is crazy here, Hunter.
I think even then it looked a little bit wacky after he vaulted the window, but that was always hitting, because, you know, he was anticipating the medium vault from the get-go, and Ranga now just going to be able to take advantage of that. But Alex G has made a better death location, and, you know, it's been within the survivor's best interest here to keep everybody in the match, because, you know, 4 survivors left in a 3 gen scenario like that is still pretty troublesome for our killer. He's not all in the clear, but as soon as he gets his tunnel out of the game, can definitely be out or in the clear. Regardless, he's still going to be following up the chase here onto Ray, who only has the outside pallet to be working with on the out front of main. Now they want to be probably, I don't know if they're going to go for a triple. That would be really risky, but you definitely could do it. You could also, oh wait, if we force the grab there, that could have been problematic. Hang on a second. I don't know what they're doing. Yeah, they're not going for any sort of they're going for a double, not a triple, but I thought we had a little bit more progress on 9. However, I think Ruin's been tanking the game, and I see this being a 4K1. I see this being a tie, which means it's so level, which is completely fine. However, the matches have been really intense, and Ranger is going to be going back and forth between all these generators here, and is going to be intercepting potentially the David, just trying to wake himself up. Zalapi now, only survivor in the trial that is not currently in the dream state. You do see Cahill getting reset by his perk. Clean break. Alex G somewhere in the distance, still injured here. We need all 3 survivors in the trial, and we cannot be giving up any sort of tags, which is going to be extremely hard with the 3-gen that has no resources around it. So what do you do from this point on? It's looking like kind of chopped chicken cheese at this rate. Ranger going to be following up on the carriage, and that's going to be, I was going to say, the down onto Alex G, but hang on a second. No, it ain't. The guy's still alive, and he's going to be able to make the window there over at 4. He's going to be holding up the pallet here, ready to get that AoE effect coming in, but we're going for a quick body block here. That's going to be Cahill taking that health state, and all of a sudden, Alex G caught at a loss, doesn't know where to go. He's going to be forcing the kick onto that pallet there. Ranger going to be following up the chase back towards the middle of the map, central side, and what does he do from here on out? Does he follow up the tunnel? Does he go back for the 3-gen? He probably just going to go back to the 3-gen because he doesn't want it being done. He knows that Zalapi would be working it. However, Zalapi has sent it away, and these boys are going to be in for a very slow game. Potentially could be the slowest of them all, in all honesty. But Ranger trying to cut off the rotation towards 2. Does manage to find out the reset here onto our 2 survivors there, being Ace and Cahill. Cahill going to be trying to make away. Oh my god, that hits him. No, it doesn't. Oh my god. Oh, it was... Oh, no, he's just getting so unlucky with these. My god, I don't actually think that Cahill was in the dream state. That's why that didn't down him, but he is now, and he does not make anything after momentarily evading Ranger for just a split second there over at 2. Generator over at 9 being pumped away, about 20% progression, sorry, and that's Cahill out of the game here. So Zalapi and Alex G, the only people for the job to be working with this. It's the backyard 3-gen being just a damn hassle, in all honesty, and... Oh, it makes you want to rip your hair out, because it's like, why does the game do this? You know, you saw it, I think, in the last series where we just didn't get a 3-gen over at this side, and then this time around, it's the only reason we're able to hold on to a 4K1, so it's going to be a long match. It's not going to be anything exciting unless somebody pulls just a tremendous chase out of the hat, but even then, if Ranger notices he's spending a little too long in chase, he can just leave. He can just leave and go back to the gens. There's nothing you can do here. It is so tight. Look at this. 2 survivors left in the trial. You have Gallows. You have freaking 9 and 8. Oh, it's terrible to be working with.
And I said at the beginning of the trial, they had to get rid of Ruin. That Undying Ruin combo is, like, we were talking at the beginning, it is a glass cannon type build, but as you can see, it's gotten its full value, no doubt, and they needed to cleanse it sooner than later. And we know what they saw, because the chases were happening around the area quite often. We saw them around 5, we saw them around Shack. They, you know, they were working the gen at 6. I mean, it's like, it's right there, but yeah, I mean, Ranger's just happy to sit up here on top of main. They can see the hex totem. They can wait for the cross, wait for the survivor to make their way over to the 3-gen, because I think that we know that they are near around those houses, around 2 to 5, somewhere in between there. Maybe after the reset, they'll start rotating over. And I'm not even sure how you'd even split this in the 2v1. I mean, 9 is, I mean, unless we have other exhaustion perks that might be able to help us, this is basically a game over. Yeah, Zalapi's the head on. I mean, we do have the balance to maybe we can do something with someone working Gallows and someone working another gen elsewhere, maybe at 9. But it's just, yeah, I mean, breaking a lot more of these resources. We find Alex here. I think Ranger is gonna be happy with just committing this chase. I mean, we have Ruin, like I said, Ruin still up. So even if things start to get a little bit long, the chases start going a little bit long, we can just take our tag, which we did get, onto Alex, and we can just leave and force Zalapi off their generator, and then once again get the hit, then force him to leave, and then Ruin. We'll just continue this cycle over and over again until someone gives out. And yeah, like I was saying, yeah, but this chase is going too long. It was trying to go a little bit too far away from the net spot, and just happy with leaving. Although I think we are predicting that this. Oh, hello, Slappy. Yeah, we're predicting that Slappy went toward behind main, and there they are running straight into the arms of the Freddy. I don't think he's the most huggable character, especially with those claws on his hands. We vault into the window, doing some mind games here. Is Renga gonna mind game him through the back of main? Not quite able to. Zappy was able to read it kind of sort of, but not able to make it to the hill. They do make it to the front of main, but I don't think there's any other resources that we can make it to. We go into 2, vault the window. Is there anything else that we have this window? No, we were not able to. The door is broken, so it did not matter. And we do see the down onto Zappy, and I think Renga will either take the pick or just teleport away. And oh, Alex is right here. Hello. Not quite able to play the same hide and seek game as Beanie did in the previous set, but yeah, another 4K1. This is kind of crazy. The lit set was a 4K1. The Freddy was a 4K1. Are we gonna see Ghoul 4K1 next on Tiebreaker here, Hunter? What is going on today?
I just don't know anymore, but yeah, we will be seeing the tiebreaker of Ghoul and Suffocation Pit 1. My fault for saying that we didn't say it the previous series because we're going to a lengthy series. My god, this will put us behind schedule just a little bit, but
welcome back, everyone. We are on to our tiebreaker set. Every set so far, set 1, 2, Lich, Nightmare has been 4K1s, 4K1s back to back to back, and now we are on to the Ghoul set, Suffocation Pit 1, where Diamond Dogs will be on the killer first. I believe it is going to be Renga on the killer, but it does make sense that these two teams, neither team wants to give up one way or another, because like I said, a loss for Celestial will basically open them up to get booted out of the top 4. Diamond Dogs can afford the loss, but if they lose next week with this loss, then they're also out of the top 4s. And like I said in previous sets, the top 4 move on, the top 2 move on straight to the winner's bracket. But at least if you get to the 3rd and 4th place, you live to fight another day. So here we are. We are loaded in. If we see a pretty standard build, we see the Pain Res, Eruption, Ruin, Corrupt, Intervention, fairly solid average build. It's what you see in almost every Ghoul set. We have, of course, the same survivors: Cahill, Slappy, Ray, and Alex G. Renga is just holding the check spot here, holding the hourglass here. This is kind of the nice little area for Ghoul to just kind of wait on the survivors to make their move, or the survivors will just hide and stealth out Corrupt. That is another strategy to be held. I mean, this is a pretty it can be a pretty solid 3-gen here. We have 5 Shack and kind of this 8, 9 generator that could be worked, but we also have a really nice gen spread topside with main 11, 10. Oh my gosh, and we have the top mid generator as well. Oh my gosh, decisions for Renga. This is a kid walking into a candy store. I'd be very happy with these gen spreads if I were Renga. Whichever way that these gens fold, whichever way that these gens pop, this is looking like already like really good generator RNG for the side of Renga. But also looking at the survivors of Celestial, they are stealthing this out so well. They're absolute ninjas here. They're not leaving any scratch marks, no crows being flown, no scratch marks, no nothing. Can't even hear no footsteps. They might as well be spirits here because they are absolutely doing a fantastic job of stealthing around. Look at this. Yeah, look at this. They're hiding around the edge map, hiding in the tiles, hiding. Wait, are they right next to each other? There's no way they're right next to each other. I thought, okay, no. I saw the tile. I was like, there ain't no way they're stealthing. I've heard of looping with friends, but have you heard of stealthing with friends? Or looping with friends or stealthing with buddies? That's a great way to spend time together. But yeah, Corrupt Intervention here, Hunter, is just about to be up, and then I believe every survivor is in a separate corner of the map, and we're gonna see a 4 split right off the bat, and each survivor could just loop in their own area.
2 minuti gone at the moment, so we're in the 2-minute mark, considering the fact that yes, Corrupt Intervention has just ran out, and my god, these guys are just playing ever so patiently, ready to just disperse the pressure on each section of the map here, probably over at corner 11. Corner 1, I swear I saw somebody's head bob over around those boxes, and Renga just didn't see them, maybe or maybe not. And yeah, probably over at 5 and 7, but you did see them for a split second, just like holding hands like you had mentioned. And yeah, there's Shaq already being begun, and Alex G, and I do believe that was Ray making their rotations towards top as well. So going to be taking the first chase probably around the Shacky if we can find out where did our cheeky Adam go. He's just hiding around somewhere, not ready to be found. He's over at the hill as well, so that's going to be a mean old tag onto Slappy. What can he do from this point on after getting a few of those one of those tentacles straight back towards this filler? We have zoned them into the corner of 5. Going to be breaking the pallet, so maybe we can catch them off before they make Shaq to any sort of shenanigans. No, we are going to be utilizing the window there, and we still have the pallet to our advantage, so that's going to be Ranga leaving that chase and not giving a damn about it. Happy to take his tag and leave, because he wants the tags very early on, as you do tend to play the Ghoul. This is how it's usually done and dusted. You know, you go get your tags in very early on, and it just creates this everlasting scenario of the survivors constantly being able to reset, having to play injured on generators and totems that are in the map, to which we have Ruin. We've brought Ruin in, which can be a problem if not cleansed, but on this map, the totems are pretty fixed and are pretty consistent, so they're not that hard to find. I will think that we will manage to get Ruin out of the trial over at 11 at some point, and that's exactly what Ranga's checking for here. Alongside the generator over at 11, he doesn't want Ruin being broken underneath any circumstance here, so he's going to check every nook and cranny, every crevice that he possibly can, and we do find Hello Ray just hiding behind a rock there. That's the pallet going down, and we're going to be rotating towards the short rock there, trying to break off into the distance over towards 11. We do have another pallet to be used, and hopefully just being able to make main after that one gets broken too. However, that has yet to be seen. As we do break it just about now, we are going to be trying to just force them into the corner of 11. And reading straight through that is Ray, who's going to be forced to use the coal buckets on the out front of main. However, we are going to be slamming generators all in the distance there. We are going to be trying to play around the mind games of the rocket, and ultimately losing the mind game there is Ranga swinging into nothing but thin air once, twice. How do you like that? Pallet goes down, and we're just extending this chase for 5 ever as it does go around it once more. Does he make main? No, he doesn't. He can only really, he's really stuck at these coal buckets here, as he did not win the stun. He has to break away when he loses line of sight at some point. Otherwise, blood loss is just going to be accumulated, and it's going to be hell on earth. But he's winning all kinds of 50s here. Hang on a second, the guy has about 300 bucks right now. Oh, I almost got about 350, but he's just going to be going down shortly after, not being able to make the window vault there. We did have somebody ready for a protection hit as well, so that's just them off a generator, not really doing too much. You would anticipate that Cahill and somebody else will be just slamming out generators for at least 2 popped all in the meantime over at bottom. So very well done to Ray there to be able to just last so long amongst nothing here. But that's going to be the Pain Resonance, denying any sort of other pop happening towards 5 section probably. So he's going to be just holding this position here. Doesn't really have any real reason to leave. He doesn't have to worry about anything bottom side, but he's going to be looking for that stealthing survivor that was here behind Shaq. Sorry, behind main a little bit ago, and even checking his totem. You know, don't want that broken. Want Ruin in the trial as long as possible, and because it will tank away at these generators in the 3v1. I swear to you, it is the best perk in the game sometimes when it is left unbroken. It's just horrible to be working with. It needs to be broken at some instances, but we don't have to be worrying about it too much now. But what we do obviously need is long chases from our survivors if we're going to be playing through it. So after Ray gets unhooked here from 10, he probably wants to just send it down the guts of mid and straight down to the bottom side. We do see Cahill hopping on a generator that's about 50% of the way progressed. I don't think that's going to be over at short 8 or short 9. Oh, no, it is. Oh, my God. And it's pumping away. I'm not too sure what the progression is looking like. Mr. Streamer, if we get a good flick around to where the survivors are on the map, maybe we can just see what they are doing currently. Please, Mr. Streamer. Please, Mr. Streamer. Okay, never mind. I'm just being egoed by the production manager. Okay, fair enough. We're going to be tagging our Adam. There's Lappy going to be the man for the job for the unhook. That's 2 tags in quick succession there. And ultimately, Ranga's just going to be traversing with those tentacles to try and facilitate the down onto Zalapi, who's just going to be greeting this pallet on the outside of main very nicely. That's going to be the generator over at bottom, being broken, and all of a sudden, this is our survivor in chase that we do not want. And all of, you know what? How about we just chase Alex G off in the corner of 10? Doesn't really have anything after that's dropped. He's going to be sending it down to 11, but we know all those pallets have been thrown. And so does Ranga as he does close in the distance ever so imminently. Does he manage to get the down? He definitely does. And we're going to be traversing there with the tentacles. They're dying in front of the totem. And surely we've seen that and come to the team where the Ruin is at the moment. So resetting the tunnel out as well. Going to be actually some inner strength value happening on to Zalapi, and Ray getting reset in the background as well. So Ranga going to be hooking on the back side of main. Now, if there is a hook you don't want to be hooked inside of a 4-5 gen, ladies and gentlemen, or whatever the hell this is, a 4 gen, it is top past main, because look at the gen split we got. We got 4 gens. We got 1 over 11, 1 over at 10, main, and 3. And a tag onto Zalapi, who just got healed with their inner strength. That's unlucky, but straight back into that enrage mode, and we're just going to be sitting, parking up bus here, and just, yeah, Pierceburger, Capachungus laid back chilling, I guess.
Yeah, this is that forward gen with the hook right in the middle, right next to the ruin. This as I mean, the side of the celestial isn't looking bad right now. I mean, we only have 2 hooks on the board, and we were able to protect our tunnel, which was Ray for a second, and I believe we will get the reset onto Zlappy once again after getting a nice free tag there. But Ranga is just in this position. The RNG here is just fantastic for him, and he broke up most of the pallets in this quadrant here. I mean, there's a little bit behind main. We see the pallet here at main. There's a little bit to 1 and 2, and a little bit into 3. But hello, I'm sorry. But Cahill absolutely teleported on my screen. I think Cahill had the quick and quiet because I did not hear the window vault and sound notification there. But we're just happy again. Once again, we're happy with just taking the hook right there, right behind main. I mean, we have no reason to leave this area except maybe to continue the tunnel onto Alex G. But I think we've completely lost him. We expected him to be in this corner 10, corner 9 area here, but it seems they were able to sneak past Ranga with their haste and their BT and make their way down the bomb side of the map, which we do find Zlappy here, though. I think Zlappy and Alex here were trying to get a reset off together, but with them going toward the bomb side, Ray was able to go around main and get the unhook. If they're able to make it toward the bottom side, this could be issues for Ranga. I mean, we still have Ruin in a trial, so the generators are always going to be basically at 0 with them resetting, but we're not quite able to see anyone. And I think they went back around main toward the one side of main because, like I pointed out earlier, 11, 10, 9 area.
Peaches, no, we've lost him again. Oh, the fire alarm, make it stop. Anyway, we're gonna be just chasing up here over at the corner of one. Ranga gonna be dropping that pallet there and has got sprint burst to his back pocket, so maybe he can do something with that over at 2. Needs to win the 50s here, and sorry, that's Cahill with sprint burst in his back pocket, not Ranga. I do apologize, Ranga is the killer. However, he's going to be following up after some quick dashes. This going to be a Kagune tag onto Zlappy, who, again, is sending it down the guts of mid all the way down to bottom where those 2 can reset. And now, what the survivors have to do here is if these work in these generators, they do have to evade the tag because it will come back to bite them. And as we do get it onto Ray, consecutive ones, surely we get the down here, blocking him off from the corner of mid, and now we're forced into main. If we die main, that's going to be so many problems. Oh no, we're going to be all straight back on that back hook. Please don't let it happen, Ray. He's going to be dropping the pallet here on the outside of the coal buckets. Does not have a window to be vaulting, so he's just kind of stuck here. Bloodlust 1 in hand, body coming in. Surely we get it on the side of Zlappy. No, we've opted to die in the corner. Dead hard, what the hell? Nah, he's going to be going down on the floor. Smack bang, see you later. In the timeout corner you go. Naughty man. But we are going to be following up here with that Kagune tag onto Zlappy once more. So it's just tag, rinse, repeat, down the mid, tag, and reset. Down mid, and our killer does not have any real reason to leave this vicinity here over at the top half of the map. He could just kind of sit here, especially with the pain resonance on the back half of main, and just cover mid, just wait for the rotations, look out for the just the flanks, I guess, because, you will think that they're not just going to send it down the middle of main. And that generator actually is surprisingly very close to being done there. I had no idea that they were actually even working that remotely. Eruption going to be applied onto it though, so it's going to be pretty hard to get it done, especially if we get it down onto our tunnel out. And since we've pushed off Cahill from that generator, it's not really going to be done anytime soon. It is going to be slowly regressing. So what the plan of action is here, I don't know. With 3 injured survivors in the trial, I have no idea, but it would require obviously everybody in the trial to be healthy, which sacrifices time and efficiency on the generators. It would require also a mean-ass chase with no resources over at top to be working with. And with every generator in that vicinity, look, Ranga doesn't even want to commit mid. He's just going to go back to the generators. However, as I say that, Caster's Curse, he has been caught in mid now trying to chase for something and hopefully get it down on an injured survivor just to get the game up and away, because it is very, very, very stagnant to the point where it's just constantly rinse, repeat. That rinse, repeat will aid the killer eventually. Oh my god! Wait, why has this guy still got endurance? Hello? Nah! Crazy stuff, but he is going to be able to make it away now, and I'm not too sure what kind of perk he would have been having in the back pocket for that to be happening. Medal of Man. Oh, there's no way I'm seeing Medal of Man value in 2026. It's absolutely crazy. But we do manage to see Cahill going to be vaulting the window of main. That's a Kagune tag. 3 rushes in hand. Three tentacles in hand, I guess. We'll call them tentacles because they're not really rushes. Anyway, going to be dropping on the outside of main, and we're just going to be sending our survivor over into 1. That's your death location, buddy. Don't make anywhere else but this death location. Vaulting over the pallet. Does he win the 50 back into the vault? If he did, it would have been problemos for that generator sitting over at 10. However, it is going to be hit with eruption, and no, it's okay. Not paid resonance just yet. Thank God. I don't think it was. Was it paid res? I didn't get a quick look at that, but if it was, it's going to. Oh, it's lost so much progress, that generator. But it's still about 70% of the way. It's not going to be done anytime soon. Zalapi now in chase here over at the Z-War. Going to be trying to delay the tag inevitably, and that's going to send him down to the middle once more. Ranger straight back on the case over towards 1 now. And I'm seeing a pattern here, Peaches. Are you back with me? Peaches is not back with me, so I'll be solo.
No, I am back here. I'm back here. I'm back here. I'm all good. I am all good. I am fine. And Danny, we see the down onto Slap here. Rango will be pulling him back toward the top half there. Although there isn't any pain res hooks around the area, maybe they can make over 10. That is a long haul. And we do see a 4th generator pop here. I'm actually very well surprised, just like you were, Ling, with 10 having as much progress as it does. This pain res will be affecting that generator, but that generator has been hit with a lot of gen regressions. We kicked it a bunch of times. We've seen eruption procced on it a bunch of times. The pain reses are coming in, and yeah, we're in a very interesting situation with Ruin out of the trial. We're now seeing what can happen in the 3v1, or the 4v1 here, and when we protect the tunnel out. Ruin, like you were saying, is such a goated perk and is so good when it's left up, but as soon as you see it leave the trial, all of a sudden the gen pressure starts rising. The resets are coming in faster, and it doesn't matter if the resets happen because you at least still keep your gen pressure going. You don't have to worry about Ruin eating away at it. So the survivors of Celestial were in such a bad spot. They were in a spot where they could have been 4K2'd. Now, looking like we could potentially possibly see outs here unless Ranga can get a if they can somehow get the tunnel out going and turn this to a 3v1 and make it just that much more difficult to get the gen pressure going. We do see the triple reset here. We still have Alex around main.
I lost Peaches again! Okay, doesn't even matter. Gonna be following up back onto Alex G here just before the window of main. He's gonna be going down, so, you know, we did get one generated.
A good chase to take, but...
Okay. I see the problem here. So I'm trying to talk, he's trying to talk. He's way behind me, I'm way ahead of him. Hold up. Peaches, if you can hear me right now, I'll cast the rest of the game, I swear, please. Anyway. We do see Ray here going to be running towards the middle of the map again. Rinse, repeat scenario. Alex G up off the floor now. And we do manage to, I was going to say evade on the side of Cahill, but no, he's been tagged this time around. And Ranger going to be going back to that generator. Going to be kicking 10, so it's so close to being done eventually. He will run out of kicks. He will run out of kicks on that generator, but I don't think it's anywhere near that point at the moment here, as we do see scratch marks over behind main. Absolutely incredible stuff from Zalapi to be able to delay this tag. Now he's forced to use his pallet just sitting on the backside here. Doesn't have anything after it though, so this will result in the tag, and we're just sending it down the edge. Man, hang on a second. Ranger doesn't give a damn about it. He's really worried about 10, and I don't blame him, especially with 3 survivors injured, not currently being reset, not seeing the avatars changed. He would have thought they would have been tripling it or something, but no. We see Cahill actually come back to a full health state, and Zalapi dying in the corner of 1 is the only survivor here that can really, actually no, well, along the likes of also Alex G being able to afford 1 more hook stage. It's only Zalapi the one that you want in chase in this particular scenario. So we're playing a little bit of the wholesome Chungus killer. There's been no tunnel out right now. Still 4 survivors left in the trial, so this 3 gen is still breakable, especially with the fact that main is one of those generators, and it is kind of out of the way. It is kind of hidden in the corner, a little bit hard to work with, especially on a full health state here. So Zalapi out of the game. All 3 survivors left in the game. What are they doing right now? Making rotations. A little bit of nod is happening there onto our ace, but Alex G, but Peaches, are you here back with me, my friend? Are you all good?
I don't even know what the heck. I don't know if the fire from earlier cut some cords or something, because my internet is going from 130, or the MS is 138.6 to 5,000, jumping back and forth. So I do apologize to the viewers if you hear me talking over Hunter, even though I am not speaking, or my voice is trying to catch up, or whatever the heck it is. But regardless, I'm still going to do my best. We do see Rango going back over to that 10 generator. I do not blame it. Like you were saying, that does have a lot of progress on it. And I still think we might still see outs here. I mean, we do get the injury onto Cahill here. We did take some down pretty far down the map away from the generators, but 10 has to be getting really close to meeting that gen regression limit here. I mean, we do see it at 3 pistons once again. And, look at that. Look at that Hunter. He's not able to kick it anymore. They are not able to kick that anymore. That generator is going to pop, and Renga notices that there is no eruption that can be applied to it. They have to sit here and watch that generator. They have to watch the survivors go up to that generator. Yes, we do see Ray here trying to work away at the generator, but yeah, there is no more regression that we are going to see the generator pop. We are possibly going to see outs. People, survivors leaving the trial here. We get the tag onto Ray here, and now we have to go back to main, maybe go back to 11, see where other gen pressure there is. We do catch out the injured Slappy here. I'm surprised they didn't reset him instead they were working the generator here. This generator also had a lot of progress, but it still has enough to be added to it.
Wait, is that my Q in? Because he cut out. I'm not too sure anymore, but I'll
Okay,
I'll take away the microphone.
Oh? I'm taking it back. I'm taking it back one more time. I'm taking it back one more time. We see Cahill here. I'm sorry. It is bouncing back and forth. Yeah, it's just horrendous on my side. I know you have a long day of casting still. This is my last trial, so I will do my best to continue it forward for you. And we do get the tag onto Alex here. We get the down on Cahill, but we're not able to get the pickup quite yet because those generators are pumping. I think Brenga is really trying to get that 4K1, but not quite able to see it. We see 10 pop here. Brenga now, I'm not sure what survivor you'd even want to go for. Maybe go don't get greedy and get the pickup onto Cahill, confirm that 9-stage result, or we can go for Zappy here, maybe get 10 stages on the board. Not quite able to block him with the pallet. We drop the pallet, not quite able to get the stone. We bolt into the killer, and Renga might go for the pickup here. We do know, we see Cahill getting picked up over at 9. We do catch out Cahill here once again. We get the down here. Maybe we can see a 4-man slug here. No, we see the doors open now. I think we saw Alex G running towards 7. Ray opened up their door, if I'm not mistaken. Here we see some of the scratch marks roaming around here, roaming around the logs. Yes, this is Alex G here toward the bomb site. I think they make it to the window, just barely swing at the window. We're going to really trying to rely on the ping to get that hit there at the window, but not quite able to. We get the pick up onto Slappy. We know where both of those survivors at. Slappy was near I think it was closer to 4, not necessarily over here. This is where Cahill is down at, not Zappy. Yeah, look at that. You see both survivors making their way toward 11. I believe it was the 11 door that was open here. We find right here in this middle junkyard area here. I think they do make it back to that 4-lane pallet here. Yes, they do. They're holding W through it. They make it to the window. Oh my gosh. They just barely make it through the window. Once again, Ringo swinging at it, hoping that Ping will pull him through with those hits, but not quite able to. But now everyone is up off the ground. Everyone is around, and we still have some resources to use. Cahill trying to use, you see him 9 in that sprint burst, but trying to make their way back toward this resources toward 9 and maybe make it their way back toward 8. I think they're really trying to get at least 3 more stages out the door. Maybe go for a hatch play. We are starting to make our way to the hatch. This is gonna be really close here. You see the reset here on Ray. They really want to get everyone out the door here, get that 4 fresh 8-stage result, but the survivors are just barely holding on. All they have is this pallet here left, although if Ringo does break this pallet, they will make it to Shaq here. And yeah, that's exactly what we're gonna see. Alex G should be leaving the trial soon, and I think Cahill's gonna try and make a run for the hatch, possibly. I'm not too sure how this is going to go here. We are getting a lot of Bloodlust here. We're at Bloodlust 2, although we are losing it once again with Cahill walking around the tile here. But this is so close. I'm so curious to see what those what?
So he can't. So yeah, Ace can't leave because that will just prompt Ranga to kick the door down, and then he just doesn't make to the top half of the map. Endgame collapse. He's just waiting for him to die. He gets allocated all stages. So Alex G just definitely has to leave the trial regardless of what happens here. This survivor isn't going to make the hatch. He's going to make the door. He's just dead.
Sprint burst. Wait.
Nah.
No. Wait. Is there a world? Okay. I was gonna say, I saw. You see the number? I'm just saying, I saw the sprint burst. I saw what they were doing. That's why I was still hopeful. I was thinking. Welcome everyone to the second trial of the tiebreaker set. In the previous result, or in the previous trial, we saw Diamond Dogs get a 4 fresh 9-stage result. It was a nail biter. It went down to the wire. Ranga had some crazy 4-gen topside where Celestial was still able to protect their tunnel out and keep the 4v1 and somehow break the ruin and break that fortune. It was a fantastic display of Celestial's survivor abilities. And Killer, of course, Rango was able to get a couple more stages out from what could have been a very mid to high hook state was able to get the 9 stages and a fairly still solid result. Now we got Ray on the Killer for Celestial Diamond Dogs. We got Hasso, Supersaurus, Renga, and Beanie on the Survivor side. This is gonna be quite the battle for them. They like I said previously. I mean, we need this set point. We need this set win to really solidify ourselves in the top 4 and keep away from the bottom 2 area. So both sides are going to be fighting endlessly for this win. And a very interesting perk that I have been seeing a lot. I see it more in the NA and EU region, but I haven't really seen it too much on the in this region area. What do you think about the forced penance here, Hunter, as you look around for survivors?
It gets its value. No, I haven't really seen it get too much value, like anything that is game changing, but it's a nice little niche perk to have in your back pocket. It's like, the reason why people don't typically bring in Ruin is because it gets found very early and cleansed early alongside with any other totem perk that gets brought on this map, and that's realistically all you're really allowed as well. Alongside the likes of, I do believe Turn Back the Clock is also permissible here, but we've opted not to bring it, so, which is kind of wild. I feel like people are kind of sleeping on that perk, but I guess, you know, it's your one perk slot that you're open to kind of change through and through. And yeah, last try you saw Ruin actually get a little bit of value considering that it did spawn over 11, took them forever to break, and but this time around you'll see Forced Penance where, you know, again, like, it gets its value. You will see protection hits not be so hurtful towards this killer now because you'll get broken. I don't know how long the broken status effect actually lasts on this perk, but I imagine it'd be quite severe. Yeah, 80 seconds. So it is a lengthy amount of time to be working with. And Ray now just going to be looking around to 5, and this is kind of a similar start that we saw last game, again stealthing out the entire Corrupt. So maybe it's the meta and I'm just kind of sleeping on it, but or maybe they're just mimicking each other's gameplay, who knows. However, just going to be covering ground over in mid. We have a 10 stage win condition to be working with as far as our killer goes, and 8 stages to be working with for our survivors. So eventually they will have to hop on their generators, and they are just kind of sitting tight over at bottom, sorry, as well. So Ray just gonna have this nice vantage point. Now look at this, is definitely holdable like through mid to late game. So I don't know if that will be the case, if we can manage to break some of those top generators, considering the fact that Corrupt Intervention is gone now. We have yet to see how it pans out. Gonna be just sniffing out here over at 5, but I don't think anybody is nearby currently, and again, still really struggling. We're heading towards the 3-minute mark and still have yet to find our first chase. The Diamond Dogs are playing very, very stealth like crows in this vicinity, so we know nobody's in this area. They have traversed over towards the top half of the map, more towards 2, where there's a little bit of progression on it. It's going to be Supersaurus straight off the rip in chase here. We're going to be taking these mind games around this long filler pallet and trying to catch them off guard. Power goes back in the back pocket, but gets brought back momentarily, and that's going to spell the Kagune tag onto Supersaurus, who's just kind of zoned into corner 1 now. We're really going to be trying to bait out that pallet drop piece, but he's not going to fall for it. Going to be happy to take that tag and go play your tags around the map elsewhere here. So maybe it's good to play the stealth game somewhat similar to the Nurse in some aspects, I guess, in this set. I don't really know. I have yet to actually kind of sit down, lock in, and find out how the Ghoul set is typically played, especially amongst a map like this. But yeah, I mean, I'm already seeing quite a few similarities with a few other sets. However, we have spotted out somebody who had been injured a little bit earlier ago. It's going to be Supersaurus again amongst the palette, and I've seen that happen twice now, yesterday and today. Again, I got to learn exactly why that is the case. Why we typically bring Champions of Light to like walk around the pallets there. It's got to be to deny something, right? Regardless, it's going to be Supersaurus on the floor. The first stage of the game here being a Pain Resonance hook at probably closing at 4 minutes.
Yeah, and the first gen still hasn't popped quite yet. I mean, it looks like there were 3 splitting the generators too for this chase. So Hassel's gen is about to pop in a little bit. Bee's gen is on the way. Brenga, I believe they got the inner strength, and then they hopped in the locker and was able to get that health state. But yeah, this generator here at 10 is, wait, was that 10 that just popped? No, I think that was the bottom one that popped. But 10 is getting really close to popping. I believe that was the one that Renga was working on. But if the survivors aren't careful of this topside gen spread, they might run into a similar situation as Celestial did in the previous set and have a rough time breaking this gen spread tops. I mean, look at this. We have 10 main, and I believe that was 3. I guess it's not the worst 3 gen for the survivors to break, but it's definitely still one that Ray can hold. And especially if we are able to get this tunnel out fairly soon, at least turn this to a 3v1, Ray could potentially get a pretty solid result. We do find Ray over here being our savior, going to get the unhook onto Super Source. I believe we will go for the nice trade, get the pain res. Yeah, we do see the force spend its value, but it's not going to matter a whole lot when you are on the hook. So yeah, we will take our pain res and we will continue our tunnel up onto Super Source, although they are beeline it down toward the bottom side. That is the new death spot. Ray does not want to chase over to that area. That is way too far away from the hook, away from the 3 gen, and I guess you could possibly wrap 3 into it, but probably not. You see him looking toward the side. You see Hassel here. Maybe we'll just get the injury on him and go back to the hook. But I think at this point, yeah, I think we will keep this chase going. Maybe get the pain res once again. But honestly, Ray, the comms and Celestial are definitely going to be fighting back and forth on what to do here. Because I mean, with this gen spread not being as tight as the previous trial, and you know, not sure which survivor to go for the tunnel, it can be pretty rough. And oh, we did find Beanie here, not quite able to stomp out Ray. I think they were really trying to inch away at that 3 generator, but not quite able to hide. They do make it over to this Orman Lake Mine tile here, but yeah, every single chase is going toward the bottom. Every single chase is going toward the bottom. Resets are going toward the bottom. If they know just as well as we do, if they died toward the top side, and just as much as we saw Ranga take advantage of, we get hooked in that behind main or in 11 around 1, it can be difficult to make it to the bottom side. So Ray will be happy with going around the generators, apply the eruption, look around, maybe we can see. I don't think they'd be resetting up here, probably not. They're probably toward the bottom side. Yeah, we see BD getting reset. I believe we'll see a couple more resets to follow here. And yeah, the other generator around, I guess mid 8, I guess. Yeah, it's mid 8, I guess. Bottom mid generator will probably pop soon enough. We do see some scratch marks over here. We do catch out. I believe this is Hassel over here making their way towards 7, but again, we just can't commit this too long. It is a pain res survivor, so we could maybe commit this at least to get another stage on the board, to get some gen regression going, to buy time to go back toward the top side. But once again, we leave, and Hassel's just gonna be happy with mending. And I think I saw Super Source around there to maybe get the reset onto Hassel and once again take the pressure back to the side of Diamond Dog. So yeah, Ray's in a very rough pickle, but we do find Ranga here, trying to hide around this brick wall here. If Ray can cut them off from the pallet, this could be huge. We can go for the dead hurt, thinking that Ray was going to swing for it. This is exactly what Ray needs. He needs this. They need this down now. We need to get this down onto them, pull them back toward the top side, and get more stages going. This is the strongest talent to work with against the goal. We vault over the pallet. Will Ranga make it back toward the pallet? Will they go for the window? They hold it W for the window. They do make it. They fake the window as well. I think they can connect it over to the next tile over, which again, it is the S window tile here. And once again, Ranga is just playing this perfectly, going for one window to another. I think they might make it back to this pallet as well, unless Ping has anything to say about it. Yeah, I think if they did go for the vault at the pallet, they would have gotten hit over it. So trying to go toward the corner as best as possible. Ray eventually will get the down, and this is a nice hook spot. It is in the center of everything here, but it is so close to the bottom, and this is already a painter stack already used on Ranga. So, but at least we have a potential tunnel survivor. But so much time was bought here, Haunter, with all the resets, and there's got to be a lot of gen pressure topside.
Oh yeah, and we see it all happening over it too. Going to be Beanie and Chase now, going to be trying to use 3 to the best of his ability, and just playing very greedy amongst the pallet there. This could result in a tag, and oh my god, hang on a second. We've even found Hasso just caught in a really bad position now. Going to be getting tagged towards the top half of the map. Has to be extremely careful, but he's just sent it down the middle of the map. You see somebody just crouching about over at the edge map, and our killer definitely saw it too. It was Beanie. He never left. So he's going to be getting tagged this time right about now. If he goes down mid, this could spell problems, but we have sent it just far enough to not be really worried about... Oh, hang on a second. No, we haven't. actually are forced to play. The Orman Fill, as it does go down, we are being zone broken, but straight into the bottom side. This is exactly where we need to be. Over towards bottom mid currently, but we're really trying to send it down to 8. Ray knows it, trying to cut off the survivor, trying to really drag them back to the top half of the map where there's 4 generators over at top. So, do we make it just before the pallet? No, we don't. Amazing stun coming in from Beanie. We're going to be breaking this generator here over towards Central 8, and ultimately, I think this might prompt us to leave this chase entirely and go back to our generators to where potentially we can find something a little bit more chaseable. Now, Ray gonna be just sitting in the middle of the map here. Still has that nice vantage point to see if he wants to climb up it and find anybody just, you know, crouch rotating or something like that. Does have access to Eruption as well, so he's going to be taking the break there over towards 10, just sniffing out this corner because this is a very common location that somebody will stealth after working said 10 generator, but actually nobody there, and he's again roaming towards just top, even deep as well, checking every single possible known location that somebody could be stealthing around, but there just seems to be nobody in plain sight. But they would have to be here because, you know, with the progression that's been laid out on the map, there's just no world that they're not, right? You can anticipate that they are going to be working Central 8 and popping that soon. I mean, it would aid us if we actually got our Eruption paid off in that regard, because I'd slow the game down just a little bit more. Yeah, you see Supersaurus just rotating back to 11, but Beanie, Ranger, slamming out 8. They're going to get it done anyway because we just could not find a chase within this area, but we're happy to hold on to the 4K2 right now. As long as this killer 4Ks in any capacity, this will result in the set going to them, and that will put them ahead for when they go to offline, playing again the Lich set straight off the rip. And if they tie this set again, which we pray that's not the case for their sake and their sanity, because they'll have to replay the whole series again, essentially. There is ground for somebody to take away that Lich set. Regardless, that's going to be a tag onto Supersaurus there. He's just forced over into the bottom half of the map once more, vaulting that window. Again, it's just the exact same kind of game plan that you would anticipate from this, and the rotation has been caught out here over in mid. Trying to get cheeky with it is Ranger, and he's just going to get tagged because of it. This is our tunnel out as well. Eruption popped on all those generators over at top. This is viable to chase over towards so deep in the map here, even though we are so far away from the generators. Vault over the pallet there, and we win the 50-50, because if we didn't, that was game over. But hang on a second, Diamond Dogs live to see another day, and that will be Ranger just making Shaq for free. Now, Ray, happy to go back to the generators here, where it's prompted Hasso off of the generator over at 3. They were doubling it, and even Beanie's there now. We see Hasso again once more just in the corner of the lockers there. Does get caught with the Kagune mark, and that's going to be another break onto this generator here over at 2. Knows somebody else is in the vicinity because the amount of pressure that's been given means that somebody was doubling it, and hopefully just around the area we can spot out Beanie for a killer's sake, but he is a little too well versed in the stealth mechanics. Look at this guy, just hiding out behind a rock. How do you like that? Just sitting parking up the bus, and he doesn't even give a damn in the world that he's not going to get any parking ticket right now. But Ray going to be traversing back towards the middle of the map again, and all of a sudden it is pretty hard for us to come back from it as far as our killer goes, because there's so much progression over at the top that we're just forced to intercept the trade. No, sorry, oh no, Hasso. Ay, that's not good. But we're going for a pickup here on a pallet where there's potentially somebody on Deathhook ready for a pallet save. This could be ugly. Oh my god, it kind of scared me because I thought that was a save, but gonna be on the Pain Resonance here. In the naughty corner you go, Hasso. Gonna be just momentarily stopping. I do believe 2 is the most progressed generator at the moment because they are spreading 2 and 10. Or maybe 2 and 3. I don't even know anymore. I'm losing track of all the generators myself, and I'm pretty sure Ray's in the same spot, but it seems that it's broken 3, and they've kind of abandoned 3, so they are working 2, though. They are working 2. And who's working 2 and where do they go? We won't know until we get a pan over, but maybe we don't get a pan over. Just going to be checking this edge map too. Nobody in sight. Do see a crow fly down. It's going to be Supersaurus over towards 11. Beanie over into 3. Again, the stealthing is absolutely incredible from these survivors, and they actually might just pull out here. How many? I don't know, but Ray straight back over to 3. Sees the crows fly down. He knows somebody's in that corner there, really trying to catch them out and sniff them out, but I'm not too sure who it was. I think it was Beanie just lurking around here over at the long wall. It's also Supersaurus over at top 1. Ooh. They were going for a reset over in the corner of 1. We almost got him. No, turn around, please.
Beanie is an absolute menace on the stealthing here. Well, I think we do finally we see the scratch marks here, but where is Beanie? They're right here. I could have sworn we saw them, but they're right in our camera angle. We see the scratch marks, but Beanie was able to still somehow stealth around the boxes. They were here around the rock, but finally Ray is able to find Beanie. What phenomenal stealthing, seriously making Ray really, it's like you can kind of see the frustration as they're looking around the edge map, looking around the generator. You see the aura on the eruption on 3, but you can kind of see the camera flicking around like, man, where the heck did this guy go? I could have just sworn they were right here. But yeah, we do finally catch out the stealthing Beanie, and we get our final painter stack and our final fresh hook as well. We do see super swords running away from 10, making their way over to 11. There's a lot of resources still to be used in this 11 quadrant. We have this 11 corner long pallet area. We also have the one right next to main, so there is still a lot of resources to be used here. And I'm surprised that the 4th den still hasn't popped. I know the Diamond Dogs have been prioritizing the heals, which is really good, but the stages are starting to rack up a little bit. We are at 5 stages right now. All we need is 10. So if we get 5 more any which way, it will be the set win for Celestial. We do find Hassel over here at 3, trying to work away at the gen, drop the pallet, not quite able to get the stun, but Ray leaving it once again, checking the main generator, maybe going over to 10, seeing what progress is being made. We have Ranga back on 2, or back on 2, and just looking around 10, watching it regress a little bit. We suspect that someone is here, and it is Super Source once again trying to work away at that generator. We left him for a little bit to go to 3, but yeah, we catch him going over to 10. They're trying to work away at 10 as much as possible. All we have left is this pallet over here, unless we can get the stun and maybe move over to 11. But I think we want to die toward the bottom side. We're trying to get the M1 onto him, not quite going to go for it. Super Source is winning a lot of 50s here, a lot of important 50s, and yes, we will use the pallet break to go toward the bottom side, and we see Beanie coming in for the buy block, which tells Ray that there's a lot of generator pressure being made. And yes, we go over to 3, get the bite onto Hassel. We'll kick 3 just a little bit for another time, but I don't think that is the final regression limit. With that kick, you can see that is not highlighted with the eruption. There is no more generator regression on that generator, and with 2 popping, one of these generators is going to pop, whether it be 10 or whether it be 3. I believe it's going to be 3, but Ray now is really on the back foot here. They need to get these stages racked up because that generator is popping. We got, what the heck? What kind of slingshot was that? I have no idea what kind of mechanic that was, but Ray has to go back to the 3. We have to get some sort of, we gotta get the hook stages on the board here. We're 5 behind, and we got the reset as well. And you already know that they're gonna be working away at 10. I know that 10 has also hit a couple of it's been kicked a couple of times. So man, we gotta commit someone. We gotta get at least maybe get Ranga to get a tunnel turn to the 3v1 to make it difficult for the other survivors to get out, or just try to rack up somehow. We do find Ranga here, actually, surprisingly enough. But whether we can admit this or not, I mean, we see Super Swords making their way toward the top side, maybe just trying to be a distraction, because we did see Beanie working away at that generator toward 10. At least I would assume it to be 10. We get the bite onto Super Swords. Maybe we can admit this to get more stages here, but oh, this is such a horrible situation for Ray to be in. There's so many decisions to be made. And yeah, we see 10 has stopped progressing. Someone is around here. But I swear, if this is Beanie once again at Ray's after, I'm going to crash out. Ray's going to crash out. I'm going to throw my chair out the window here. It is Beanie! It is Beanie once again! I'm sorry, the window to my left, you're going to hear shatter in just a couple of minutes once this match is over with. I cannot believe it is them once again, but I think they will get caught out here finally. But Beanie being an absolute menace here, lurking around the generator, waiting for their teammates to reset, which we do see happen in the background. But Beanie absolutely, when it comes to the stealthing, is the MVP for this. But we do find Super Swords here, but we'll get the bite onto them, or at least go for the M1, get the injuries going. But Ray has to commit to someone at some point or another. But if we commit as well, then we know that that generator at 3 is going to pop. We get the bite onto Hassel, so at least we're spreading the injuries. We try to go for the power stone, but it completely messed it up, but we are able to make it to 5 at least. We have this pallet to work around, but oh, this is so difficult for Ray. We don't know which way to go. Do we commit someone? How long is too long? We do find Ranga here. Maybe we commit this to at least get the 3v1 and maybe start racking up the stages, make it difficult for the resets to come in, and make it difficult for the body blocks to come in. We do get the tag onto them with the bite, so maybe we commit this. It does look like that's what's going to happen. but there's still more resources to be used around this 9 area, especially with these connecting tiles. Do we get the window block? No, we do not. It looked like it, but Rhea not quite able to make it, but I don't think Ranga makes it to anything else. Maybe with pathing, they can make it back over to 9. We do see the buy-block coming in the form of super stars. Those generators are pumping. Maybe they would go back to 3, but no, Ray has to commit someone. Has to commit someone. We will commit super stars. I don't think they can make it to Shaq. No, they do not make it to Shaq, so we will get this insta pickup, but Ranga is around here. Oh, I was expecting Reyna to get the palace done, but 3 not popping quite yet. 10 is getting really close though, so this is the 6th stage. We need 4 more to go any which way. We're making our way back to 3. We suspect that that's the one being worked on, but it's actually 10 being worked on. Yes, we realize that we see a 3. 10 is gonna pop. This is going to really come down to the wire. We need 4 stages somehow. We have the injured super stars. We have the injured Ranga. We do have Beanie, who is worth the most, of course, alongside Hassel, but we do get the M1. But I think this might be the win for Diamond Dogs, because all we have to see is 4 stages go out the door, and this chase continues on any longer. That might be it, because I think there was a door bottom side, if I'm not mistaken. No, it is. They're both top side, so there is still a chance for Ray. But as soon as we see the bar go across the board, oh wait, no, it is bottom side. I'm absolutely blind. And with everyone leaving the trial here, that is just barely the set win for Diamond Dogs. So just make sure 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, just barely below the tiebreaker, and just finally we see a set point on the board in favor of Diamond Dogs here. Holy crap, Haunter, what a series of matches we've seen here today.